learned as a child, there's two ways to see the world as it is and the way it could be. Some people say that's just not my problem. Some people do what must be done. They see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Some people do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. I've seen the toll taken, the tears that were shed. I've seen the journey started and the ripples spread. Still people say that's just not my problem. And they do what must be done. They see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Some people do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Some people do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the way on that long road to freedom and they do what must be done. They see the way on that long road to freedom and they do what must be done. They see the way beyond the horizon and they do what must be done.
Good. I love it that you chose to join us on this dreary, beautiful Mother's Day morning. And will you please join me in lighting the chalice? This is what all Unitarian Universalists do when they gather. They light it at the beginning of their meetings, services, and then they extinguish it at the end. This is the symbol of our faith. It represents our truth-seeking nature. It reminds us that we are not bound by dogmas. Instead, we seek truth. We do whatever it takes. Therefore, we do not focus on that which separates us. Instead, we focus on that which we all have in common. So will you join me? And if you can, say the words. Otherwise, just enjoy. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Our chalice is lit. And now I invite you to join me for a short time in just centering and meditation. If it is yours to close your eyes, please close them and find a comfortable position in your seat. I invite you to please uncross your legs if they are crossed, uncross your arms if they are crossed, and place them gently on your lap, palm facing upward if comfortable. If comfortable, I also invite you not to use the support of your chair's back. Instead, just support yourself, not too stiffly, erect but comfortable and loose. And take a deep breath. And as you're trying to center your mind and Invite it into the silence as if it were possible. Just focusing on your breath. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. 2, 3, 4. Breath out. 2, 3, 4. And just notice your body. And wherever you recognize tension, just release it. Let your muscles go loose. Allow your body to just be without tension. Just a gentle awareness, a kind way of being. No expectations, only acceptance, love, compassion. No agenda. Thought, no thought. No agenda. Get a sense what it might be like to be in the world without judgment, without the belief of knowing how we should be and shouldn't be at any given time. Get a sense of what it may be like if you just accepted yourself, just the way you are. A few extra pounds here, a few extra pounds there. Hair done, undone. Shaven, unshaven. In shape, out of shape. Thoughts racing, no thoughts. Just get a sense of what your world might be like if you could only embrace yourself as is. And then get a sense what your world would be like if you could embrace your beloved, your children, your family, your community, your friends. Allow that to come to life inside yourself. And in that space, in that opening, I'm able to come up with nothing else but deep gratitude. And for that, together we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now I invite you to gently open your eyes and turn your attention to this here and now, as you are ready. And re-welcome. For those of you who are just joining us now, I'm Reverend G. You're joining the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Community Church in Portage. And I love it that you're choosing to spend this time with us in community, in curiosity, bringing your special presence, energy to this new world of ours, new virtual becoming. And I also would like you to join me in thanking Miriam and Nick for helping us create this experience in spite of us not being able to come together in our physical space as we are used to. Here we are, and this is all made possible by us working together, figuring things out, learning about these ways of technology that shrink the world, shrink the distance between us. Yet there is a learning curve, and we're meeting it to the best of our abilities, and we're grateful for your support and understanding as we do so. And it appears that this will be our way for some time to come. And in this moment, I also invite you, to the best of your ability, step out of your all-knowing mind, of your needing to know your schedule, needing to know what is going to happen next. The stronger your need is, I suspect, the worse your frustration can be. So also allow me to, you mothers, to acknowledge you today. Mothers who are at home with your children, who've run out of creative ideas 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, who've become Latin teachers, science teachers, teachers of history and frustration, and of the deep and vast I don't know. I hold you in this special place, and I raise you, and I see you, and I acknowledge you. And I can't even imagine what your life is like right now. So if you need support, if you need help, or if you just need an ear, reach out. I hope that you give yourself the permission to acknowledge that, oh my goodness, I've been dropped into this world that I've never been a part of. And most of the times I have no idea what I'm doing. And I give myself permission not to know. And I give myself permission to feel frustrated, inadequate, and still make it okay. And still feel that I am a good parent and I am doing the very best that I can. And I'm here learning and figuring it out. And this is a new world, a new reality. I'm cutting myself a slack, and I'm cutting my kids a slack, and my husband a slack, and my partner a slack. So here's to you, wonderful mothers, and mothers who have raised your children, and you're of that age who is vulnerable, and you've not been able to be visited by your beloveds. You're home alone, just wondering how you're doing, also figuring out these weird ways of technology, so at least you can lay an eye on our faces, faces of your children, hear our voices, and hug yourselves, because we cannot hug you right now. So do it. Do hug yourselves. Just give yourself that love, that squeeze that we would give you anyway, if only we could be in your physical space. And just know that we miss you. Just know that we want nothing more than to come over and just be with you. And how are you, Mom? And share a meal and chat, spend time. Just know that. And I hold in special place those of you who have lost your moms, and you would love to give them and may have loved to give them a squeeze, a hug, hear their voices for quite some time now. For some of you, the grief, the loss, the pain is aged, and for some of you, it's fresh. I see you, I acknowledge you, and I hold you gently in love, in kindness. You're not alone, and yet none of us can feel your pain, the sorrow of your loss. Be gentle with yourself. So there it is, the Alpha and the Omega, this and that, and it is always that way, the this and the that, the one who enjoys the shutdown and the one who can barely take it anymore. There are those polarities that exist together, and how can they? We're in pain. When we are in pain, we are wondering how can the world still have joy? And when we are in joy, we may have a hard time imagining how can anybody be in pain when life is just so good and wonderful. And these polarities at all times exist side to side. And as long as we resist them, we shall know pain, frustration, disappointment, depression, you name it. I titled my talk today, It's a Marathon. When this pandemic came on, and it's called the novel COVID-19 virus, and it's not 19 because it's the 19th virus, as some people, even in high positions, may mistakenly believe that. It's called 19 because it was discovered, or it came upon us in 2019, the year 2019. It's a novel virus, which means scientists know little about it. And they still know little about it months into it. When it first came on, of course, we didn't know that it would be a pandemic, that it would affect our entire planet. Then when it did affect our entire planet, we did not know how long would it take for it to unfold, how far and deep its reach would go. When we first went into the shutdown, when we were asked to stay at home and stay in physical separation, physical distancing, we didn't know how long that would be necessary. And guess what? We still don't know how long that is necessary. All we know, we read last night that Kalamazoo and Portage area is now number 10 in the nation in the rate of deaths from COVID-19. So it's serious, it's here, it's among us. If it hasn't yet affected us, perhaps it's hard to imagine that this is still a threat, because the longer something goes on, the more we get used to it, and the less aware we might become or be. Our awareness wears off with time, and then we just think, oh, it can't be that bad, it hasn't affected me yet, it's time to go out. And scientists tell us that is a mistake. So this is not a sprint. This is not a short time. This is a marathon. And a sprint and the marathon are run and trained for in very different ways. And so that is exactly what we need to do with ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, train ourselves physically as well, that life as we know, or as we used to know, is no more. And we also cannot know that life will ever return to what we used to know. And perhaps in it is also the saving grace, that life perhaps needn't return to what it used to be like. So there is the opportunity as well. So today, I would just like you to get a sense of where you're at. Get a sense of what is it that you are experiencing in general, day by day, through this pandemic. Are you the one who is lonely, frustrated? Are you the one who is longing for physical connection and can't get it? Are you the one who can hardly wait to go out and socialize again and grab a drink and have a dinner with your friends and, hey, how are you? Or are you the one who is thinking, wow, this is wonderful. I can get to be alone all the time with my pets. Or if you don't have pets, with my books, with my whatever. I'm loving this. I've always been an introvert and I just have never even realized how much stress it's been for me to be in the world, the polarities that exist next to each other. So get a sense of it. And get a sense of it for your own sake, so you can be honest about it and to know where you're at. And then I am going to offer you just a picture, an image. The vastness of this universe. Just think about it. Endless number of galaxies. Vastness. What do you know about them? Really, what do you know about these galaxies? What it takes for the sun to come out in our galaxy, which is just a tiny speck in the vastness of the millions of galaxies around us. What all has to go right for the sun to come up every day and to set every day? So the atmosphere on our tiny microspeck of planet can exist, so life can thrive on this planet. What do you know about that? I don't know much about that. I imagine that there are some scientists out there who have committed their lives to learning about this, and they would say, we know very little about that, what it takes, how it works. We know very little. We learn about it all the time, but we know very little. Then if we bring it into even our planet, what do we know about this? We know quite a bit, but a lot we don't. Most we don't. So reality of our beingness is that we know so much less than what there is to be known. So how can then we know when this pandemic is going to end? We can't. Now we can't help it but ask the question, when is this going to end? When are we going to be able to come back together in person at our church, physically? And the honest answer is, we don't know. We just don't know. So we have to structure life differently than we had before. It is just like when you train for a marathon. I learned from marathon runners, their secret is to focus on the step that they're taking in the moment. The step that they're taking in the moment. In other words, it's what spiritual teachers have always told us, be in the now. Be in the now. If you want guilt and shame, spend time in the past. If you want fear and terror, spend time in the future. The only place where you can be connected, sane, at peace in this present moment. This one step, today, the now. What am I going to do now? And then make sure that you have watering stations set up along the way. Watering stations, it's your sustenance. You have to take very good care of yourself when you are running for such a long stretch, when you're expecting of yourself to do something that is strenuous, that is different, that requires stamina and a beingness, a performance that you've just didn't do before. So you have these watering stations. What are these watering stations for you? And you are the one who know yourself. You know how is it that you get sustenance, spiritual, emotional, intellectual, and physical as well. All of that is necessary. And focus on that. Be very conscious about that you need to give that to yourself. So I invite you to think of something that has worked for you, that works for you really well. That when you do that, time flies. When you're engaged with that thing, time flies. You don't even notice that life is happening around you. That's the one that makes your tail wag. And do that. Engage in that conscientiously every day, perhaps several times a day. For me, it's two things. Walking my dogs, I love that. I especially love it, like I'm hooked like this, when they start playing with each other. That is my favorite. I don't care what mood I started out with. Whenever that is happening, there I am giggling, laughing, and just, it's just the most fulfilling, beautiful feeling for me. Being out there in nature with my dogs. If Patty is with me, it's even better. And then I really love gardening. I do love gardening. I love to plant the seed. I love to tend the seed. I love to see it grow. I love to free it from weeds. I just love that. I didn't know. I started gardening just a few years ago. And every year I look forward to it more and more and more. So I know that for me to stay grounded, I want to do these things. And I like to read a good book. I do like to read a good book. I love to just sit down and read a good book and let my imagination go. There's the movie inside my head. I just love that. So read a good book. And Miriam has been wonderful in putting together resources for us. Like, what are the books that we're reading? And there's that list. It's on our website. It's available. She sends it out in the newsletter or weekly emails. And if you don't know what to read, just check out what the rest of us are reading and get something. Take care of yourself. Take very, very good of yourself. And then, once you identified your happy place, that happy place, you know how to go there, you know how to engage it, you know how it feels, then teach yourself to take that into the next moment. Take that peace, take that fulfillment into the next moment. And from there, roll it into the next moment. Expand your happy place. So even if now you're doing your dishes, even if now you're sitting in front of your computer trying to figure out that darn program for work, you can still access that happy place. It's your watering station. You need to be conscious of that. You need to be working on that. And no one is going to do that for you. That's good news and bad news. No one is going to do that for you. So it does take your presence, your commitment, your willingness, and your knowingness to do it. And then the other thing, I'd like you to get a sense of living in the I don't know. Just where does that take you? You who just allow me in this moment to acknowledge those of you who have had so many important celebrations, events on your calendar, and they've all come and gone. Graduation, weddings, birthdays, non-elective surgeries, important, but they're non-elective, so they're not doing them right now. People who have lost loved ones and they can't be with them. You who couldn't be with your beloveds. You who still cannot be together after the loss and come together as a family and just mourn. Just lay hands on each other, say, honey, I see you, I love you, and I'm hurting with you. I want to acknowledge all of you, that I see you, we see you, and then hold you in love, and just be gentle with yourselves. And I am so sorry that all of these things came and went without you being able to celebrate it and step up to it, be with it as you had intended it. I am so sorry. So get a sense of that. What it's like to be in this unknown. And get a sense that this is going to be our reality for some time. And that we are not willing to allow it to cost our sanity, even our connectedness, that we are willing to adjust and transform our lives so we can bring a creativity to this new way of being that is genius. And I see it all the time. I know musicians who have been in high demand, who had nothing on their schedule that was available for a year or two out, and who overnight became stay-at-home parents or just entities. And they've gone online and they're offering these free concerts, and they are just putting it out to the universe, and their sustenance is coming. People are donating because we are also tapping into our generosity, and we're being there for each other. We understand what it takes, and our compassion kicks in. And that's beautiful about us, isn't it? And then artists who are expressing themselves and presenting their art in new forms and new ways. My cat is meowing right here. She has things to say as well. Welcome to the Holy Church of the Living Room. And artists who are finding expression in ways that they didn't think was inside them. And there it is, connecting, creating, making it happen. And the rest of us finding ways to still enjoy and support these artists. And then there are those who truly have lost much or worried about how they're going to pay rent, mortgage. So it's both, it's this and that. So get a sense of what it's like to be in this moment, in this complete unknown, which, by the way, has always been true. Life is unexpected, in case you haven't noticed. It throws things at you that you never saw it coming in a million years, but there it is, and you get to deal with it. So get a sense of that. Because that is the place that we have moved into. We didn't get to vote. We didn't get to choose it. We don't have to like it. We don't have to love it. And it mustn't cost our sanity. So we have to find ways to creatively come together, build the beloved community, strengthen it with love, compassion, presence, whatever it takes. So when life opens up again, and we don't know what it's going to look like, and when it does, we have a solid ground to step on. That we are still there, sane, centered, all together, able to create a new world that I hope and pray and wish that it will look very different than the old world we left behind. The old world that was mostly concerned with the mighty dollar, profiteerism. And I hope that we are willing and able to create a world of compassion, possibility, that supports life, that when a pandemic comes, we actually can meet it competently. A life that allows for a kinder, more spacious living. So get a sense of that. And if you're impatient with this, work on that. This is going to be with us for some time. We are going to have to practice physical distancing for some time. It's just the way of it. You don't have to like it, you don't have to love it. I encourage you to accept it, because peace lives in acceptance. And then, with that peaceful mind, see what you can create. See what future you can bring out of that peaceful beingness. Peace. It's a marathon, folks. This is it for some time.